All right, so I'm going to go through the answers for number 2 and number 4 on our quiz so that you can work those out with me and maybe learn from each one of those. It's just shortening up what you have to do and giving you some extra examples to learn from. So the first thing I would have to do on number 2 is balance the equation. Since there's 2 chlorines, 2 hydrogens, I probably need 2 hydrochloric acids on the left. Everything else should just be ones. But then I need to work out what mass of hydrochloric acid is consumed by the reaction of 2.5 moles of magnesium reacts. So 2.5 moles is what was given to me. Excuse me, I should keep that 0 so I know that it's 3 sig figs of magnesium. And again, just like always, I want you guys to think about, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here? That way you can every time figure out what steps you need to do. So again, overall, I could start with grams of A, turn that into moles of A, turn that into moles of B, and turn that into grams of B. Right? I keep doing that over and over again, but I do it for a reason. It's supposed to make it easier for you to figure out what steps you need to do. So I realized here that I was actually given moles of magnesium, and magnesium is essentially going to be my A thing in this question. So if I was given moles of A and not grams of A, I just don't need the grams of A. I just start from here, right? Otherwise, I know that I need a mass of B, which is going to be my hydrochloric acid. So I do need to go all the way to grams on the product side, of this string. But otherwise, all I need to do to make sure I can get from moles of A to grams of B is have moles of A here to cancel moles of A, have moles of B here to cancel moles of B, and then realize that, okay, I have a ratio and I have a molar mass. So I'm going to need to know what 1 mole of B, which happens to be HCl in this case, I need to know what mass that would be. So I add those things up on the periodic table and I get a 36.46. 35.45 plus 1.01 is definitely 36.46 grams. But otherwise, I should have everything I need already. So again, magnesium is my A, right? Moles of A. So I start with 2.5 moles of magnesium in my work. But then I need to cancel moles of A using a ratio. Now, for every 1 mole of magnesium, I have 2 moles of hydrochloric acid that are going to be consumed. So I put the 2 moles of hydrochloric acid on the top, and I put the 1 mole of magnesium on the bottom. Again, I'm just following along with my work above. I need to put moles of B on top and put moles of A on the bottom. That way moles of A cancels with moles of A, and I now have moles of B as a label. But then my next step is to use this molar mass over here. So I need to put this into my work. I need the grams on the top and the moles on the bottom. But otherwise, I already know where it needs to be, 36.46 grams per mole. Both of those things are B, so they're both labeled HCl. And this should give me the answer I need. Moles canceled for magnesium, moles of hydrochloric acid canceled. Now I have grams of hydrochloric acid, so I just gotta multiply and get the answer. 2.5 times 2 is 5 times 36.46 is 182.3. I only need 3 sig figs, so I'm going to cut that off and just make it 182 grams of hydrochloric acid. But that's how I do this, right? Again, I'm trying to make it really clear what I'm doing every time in these examples. And I'm just following along with that generic example and plugging in what I need to plug in. The sooner you come to recognize that all of these examples are pretty much the same, the easier this is going to be for you. So part B would ask me for what mass of each product is going to be produced, assuming I still have those 2.5 moles from part A. So I have to start with that still. But it's a little bit different this time because I might actually skip a step because I start with 2.50 moles of magnesium still. But according to my equation, my balanced equation that I need to rewrite my numbers in here, right? Everything besides the hydrochloric acid, which I don't care about in this case, I want to know about the products in this case, everything's in a 1-to-1 ratio. So I don't really need to do that first step, mole to mole, because I know that 2.5 moles of magnesium is going to make 2.5 moles of magnesium chloride and 2.5 moles of hydrogen gas, right? They're in a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't really have to do that step. So really in these cases, I just have to change moles into grams, which is a little bit simpler. I only have one conversion factor to do. I just need to know, okay, how many 1 mole of magnesium chloride has what mass. So I add that on the periodic table. It's 95.21 grams, and I use that conversion. This time, since I don't really have different stuff and labels, I don't even really need to put those on there, but mole still cancels mole. And so 2.5 times 95.21 is going to give me a 238 gram answer. Down here, I just have to do the same thing. I'll use a different mass because 1 mole of hydrogen is 2.02 grams. So I multiply by 2.02 grams per mole. And that should give me an answer of pretty small, 5.05 grams. And then lastly, before I jump away from this problem, because I've answered everything, there is one more thing you have to answer later in this quiz. 2.5 moles of magnesium. 1 mole of magnesium has a mass too, and that happens to be 24.31 grams. So if I take this 2.5 times 24.31, again, not showing my work because I don't really have to do this part for this question, but if I multiply those two numbers, I'm going to get an answer of 60.8 grams. And I just want you to be able to see something. If I take that 182 and I add 60.8 to it, it's going to give me an answer of 242.8. I can only have 3 sig figs here, right? I can only go to the ones place because that 182 only goes to the ones place. Remember, adding and subtracting has different rules than multiplying and dividing. So I should round this to 243 as an answer, 243 grams. I have two numbers on this slide too, 238 plus 5.05. I'm going to get a 243.05. Again, I need to round to the ones place because of the rules, but that's a 243 gram amount as well. And that is not a coincidence. This is the same as this because of a certain law in chemistry and science in general. So I can know when it's all said and done that I did this correctly because I have the exact same amount of stuff on both sides. Literally 243 grams of reactants and products. So I can tell that I didn't make any mistakes and that I should be correct on everything in this problem.